Hello, everybody. Hello to Raul. Hello to Jamie for the spice. Braden, appreciate you just stopping by here. You're doing some lawn care? Starting your week with some lawn care, I see. Okay. Well, good to see you. Happy Monday. Hope your lawn care is whatever you want it to be, okay? I'm wishing you the best of luck in that. Hello to Heldy. Hello to everybody. We are bringing the spice today here on the show, and you can thank Jamie Eisner for this, and I will explain exactly what happened here in just a second. We are a little under the weather. We woke up this morning. We have a little bit of a headache, and I will tell you, we're fighting back some nausea, okay? I don't know what happened this morning, but we woke up and we're not feeling very great. I've got the blue light glasses on. I've got, like, the darkest lights I can get here. Like, I have my red lights on just because they're not as bright as compared to some of the other colors. So we're fighting it, but we are going to push through here to do the show. Now, let me get the tweet out. I already put it in the Discord. Let me just do some stuff behind the scenes here, and we can get started in just a second. So I'm going to go on mute here, do some last-minute things here, and we will get started. Okay, everybody, I am back. Hello to everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hello to Tuttle. What was everybody's highlight of their weekend here before we get started? 3 baseball games in 3 days for me would be my highlight. 3 baseball games. Took in the entire Diamondbacks National Series over the weekend. Was at the ballpark for all 3 days. I think that is in large part why I'm not feeling that great today. Basically, wore myself down going to 3 baseball games in 3 days, and post-game activities for 2 of the games, pre-game activities for 2 of the games. Just spent a lot of time this weekend at the ballpark, and for somebody who is a big fan of baseball, I may have spent a little too much time at the ballpark, which is something that I never thought I would say, but I certainly felt it this weekend. So what was everybody's highlights of the weekend? Heldy watched Backlash in that Sixers-Celtics game yesterday. Yes, I watched the second half of Backlash. My roommate last night. We're big wrestling fans, so we had that on. Got to watch Bad Bunny, got to watch the Bloodline tag match, and then watch the main event. I'd seen all the results ahead of time, but wanted to sit down and actually watch some of the things, and had a blast. Had a blast watching that show. Was a lot of fun. And that Sixers-Celtics game was pretty good. The Suns Nugget series has gotten very interesting at 2-2. So a lot of fun things going on in sports right now, and we've got fun here on the show today. We're just jumping right into it. We're going to the main screen here. I've got a list here. I've put 10 names down on the list. We are doing the unofficial Pre-2023 power rankings for the NFL. So that is what we are doing here on the show today. You can see it based on the thumbnail. I went very clickbaity. I went very trolly. I put Derek Carr in the thumbnail today. I knew what I was doing. Yes, Carlito's return pop was elite. One of the biggest pops I've ever seen. Bad Bunny's entrance is one of the best entrances I've ever seen. That crowd made everything that was already great. They turned it up a couple of other notches. It was absolutely fantastic to see. So, okay, let's talk about some football. We are going to do here official power rankings. I will get into it here when I press the record button on the podcast version of the show. But this dates back to a conversation that Jamie shared with me on Friday, late in the maybe 2 hours after I got done doing the show on Friday. Jamie's like, "I've got your Monday show," and then sent me 2 tweets, and I have all caps responses to him. Scout without cloud. Is Carr going to be good or his team? Yes. I think Derek Carr is going to be very good. We will get into that here in a second of where I think he ranks for 2023 quarterbacks in just a second. But looking forward to this conversation because it's one thing to just come on here and go after somebody else's rankings, but I'm also going to do the work. I'm going to have my own rankings as well. I'm not just going to just yell at somebody for 15, 20 minutes here on the show. So without further ado, let's push the record button here for the podcast version and let's get this week started. And welcome into the Monday edition of the TDN Daily podcast. Chris Schubert back with you here once again on the show. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I know there's no football, but a very fun sports weekend across the board. Whether you stayed in and watched some sports, you went outside, whatever you did, hope it was a great weekend. I know I took in some baseball games over the weekend. It was nice to get out of the house, enjoy the ballpark atmosphere. It was just very nice. It's the benefits of this time of year, maybe before summer scouting begins, and then we get into the meat of the 2024 college season, the 2023 NFL season, and the 2024 draft cycle. We've got a fun one here for you today on the show, some spice. And in order for me to correctly tell this story and to tell you exactly how we got here, we have to go all the way back to just a couple of hours after Friday's show got done. So we did the Friday free-for-all on Friday, had a great time. Everybody in the YouTube chat, by the way, shout out to the members watching the show live in the YouTube chat right now. We got done with the show, had a great time with the Friday free-for-all, had a lot of banter, talked about a bunch of different things. We get done, and I was sitting around doing some other work here. It was maybe an hour or two after I had gotten done doing the show, and I get a message from Jamie Eisner, who I believe is still in the chat here to enjoy the spice. He says, "I've got your Monday show." That's all the message says. And then it's two links to some tweets. And I wait for the tweets to unfurl in the Discord to see what it is. And all I can see is the big bolded graphic that says NFL quarterback power rankings. And I know Jamie's just trying to rile me up. He's just trying to get me going on a Friday so I could be mad all weekend for a Monday. Well, it worked. So this was CBS Sports. Cody Benjamin put together his NFL QB power rankings in the offseason. And when I tell you, I've got a lot of questions about this list. I got a lot of questions about how we got to these 32 quarterbacks in the order that they're in. Boy, do I have some questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down this list. And then we're going to do the official, unofficial Pre-2023 quarterback power ranking. So I have put together my top 10 of quarterbacks for the 2023 season. And again, it's the official, unofficial, because I reserve the right to change these by the time the season starts. This is where we sit right now. So they're unofficial, but it's the official, unofficial Pre-2023 quarterback power ranking. So that's what we have here on the show today. Looking forward to it. So let's dive right in to the top 10. I can't wait for you to react at home listening to this podcast, and I certainly can't wait to see what the reaction is from the chat here as I read these names. The top 10, according to Cody Benjamin and CBS Sports, here are the top 10 quarterbacks, NFL QB power rankings for the offseason. Number 10, Deshaun Watson. Number 9, Dak Prescott. Number 8, Trevor Lawrence. Number 7, Lamar Jackson. Number 6, Aaron Rodgers. Number 5, Justin Herbert. Number 4, Josh Allen. Number 3, Jalen Hurts. Number 2, Joe Burrow. And number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Now, I will tell you, when I'm looking down at my list here down below, I've got 7 of the same names inside, maybe 8 of the same names inside my top 10. I swapped 9 and 10, Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson out. I put 2 names in, and I have a little bit of a different order. But I think the biggest takeaway here is we've got a lot of love for Dak Prescott that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We've got a lot of love for Deshaun Watson that I think his resume from Houston is the one doing the heavy lifting, because if you were doing this based on the way he played last year in Cleveland, there's no way he should be able to be in this top 10 list. And so if we are looking at this from power ranking these quarterbacks going into 2023, I cannot, in good faith, have Deshaun Watson on my top 10 list. He did not play particularly well. Now, if you want to tell me, Chris, 700 plus days off, had to get back into the flow of things, just watch, 2023 is going to be a year, that's fine. Then we can do this at the end of the season and power rank how the quarterbacks played, and Deshaun Watson can be in the top 10. But if you are doing this in good faith, I cannot get around to Deshaun Watson being a top 10 quarterback. Now, I've made it particularly clear on this show in the past, and to any live shows that we've done, I'm not a Dak Prescott guy. Dak Prescott in the top 10 for me is, again, a little too rich. I think he's a top half of the league quarterback, so I think he's definitely top 16. I'd have him somewhere in that probably 12 to 16 range. You may think that okay, Chris, not a lot going on there. You probably could disagree. The order, Jalen Hurts maybe at number 3 is a little too high. Maybe Deshaun Watson should be in the top 10. But overall, those are pretty good names. We did pretty good here. The graphic goes on because there's a second slide to the graphic. And the graphic has them all ranked, 1 through 32. And folks, the next 7 names on this list, I'm going to read them all to you, just so we can do this, because this will be a fun little exercise. Here's how the rest of them are ranked from Cody Benjamin, 11 to 32. Is everybody sitting down? Does everybody have their trusty morning beverage, coffee, water, soda, tea, whatever they've got going on? Is everybody ready for this? Number 11, Kirk Cousins. Number 12, Brock Purdy. Number 13, Jared Goff. Number 14, Geno Smith. Number 15, Daniel Jones. Number 16, Justin Fields. Number 17, Tua Tagovailoa. Number 18, Matthew Stafford. Number 19, Russell Wilson. Number 20, Kyler Murray. Number 21, Bryce Young. 22, Derek Carr. 23, Jimmy Garoppolo. 24, Jordan Love. 25, Ryan Tannehill. 26, Anthony Richardson. 27, CJ Stroud. 28, Kenny Pickett. 29, Mac Jones. 30, Baker Mayfield. 31, Desmond Ridder. 32, Sam Howell. So in the same breath that we have Deshaun Watson in the top 10, and the only way we could be doing that is based on his past resume, not what he did in 2023. We've jammed Brock Purdy into the top 12, again, based on what he did in 2023. The logic's very inconsistent. Also, you saw it in the thumbnail. Everybody knows where I'm going to go with this. It's going to be the theme throughout the show. Derek Carr being 22 is downright laughable. You may not like Derek Carr. You may think Derek Carr is not a top 8 or a top 10 quarterback like I do. That's fine. 22? Completely disrespectful for a guy that just on his own, just with bad teams in Las Vegas and in Oakland, puts up 4,000 yards, no problem. Just terribly underrated Derek Carr is, and I will continue to pound the table for this guy until he gets the respect that he deserves, and hopefully he can have a good year down there in New Orleans. I'm expecting him to have a good year down there in New Orleans and show everybody that he is a pretty good quarterback. Again, you don't want to have him in the top 10 like I do, that's fine. But you're telling me Derek Carr is not better than half the quarterbacks in this league? You're telling me he's not a top 16 option? You need to win a football game? You're telling me he's not be in this mix? And Sam Teets in the chat, I think, points out a very fair point here about the back half of this list. I'm fine with all the rookies and unproven second-year guys being in the mid-20s and 30s. They haven't really earned any better. Yes, I think when you look from 26 down, you got Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell, right? That's a pretty good group. That's a pretty nice mixture of guys, right? Baker's in there as well because he's now a starter. Any order you want to put those guys in, that's fine. Scout Without Cloud says, how do you respond to the people who point that he had a top wide receiver and running back last year? I think he's like Matt Stafford. Well, Matt Stafford's 18th on this list. So, and I think my response to people who point out that he had a top wide receiver and running back option, I would agree that Derek Carr probably statistically had one of the worst years of his career. But that year, the year that he did have, and I'm pulling up the exact numbers just so I can make sure that I reference it correctly, wasn't a terrible year. Still threw for 3,500 passing yards. The previous four seasons, 4,800 passing yards, 4,100 passing yards, 4,000 passing yards, 4,000 passing yards. So, again, you want to criticize the guy for having a down year in 2022. Let's also give him credit for what he did from 2018 to 2020 through 2021, where he had 4 straight 4,000-yard seasons, and only a handful of quarterbacks have ever done that in the history of the league. So, I'm not going to take just 1 year and be like, oh, Derek, I've got a bigger sample size here. And oh, by the way, in his second and third year in the league, he went 3,900 and 3,900. So almost has had 6 4,000-yard passing seasons already in his career. He's got 4, and I do expect him to get right back to it there in New Orleans. Sims World says Tua should be higher. I agree. I have Tua on my list as well, and my list is only a top 10. So I agree with that 100%. So to me, where the list really fell apart and where I really got upset, like I looked at the first 10 and I was like, all right, like I know I'm a Derek Carr stan, so I have Derek in the top 10, and like I know not everyone's going to have that. I can't get like irate, right? I can't get irate about Derek Carr, not being in the top 10. Then I saw where Derek was. Then I saw where Derek was, 22, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And again, Brock Purdy you have to reconcile what Brock Purdy did last year and why you ranked him 12th, but then you had Deshaun Watson and what he did last year as a player, and you have him 10th. If you're just basing it off 2023, then you need to flip those two, right? And then that makes the list really weird because you're going to tell me Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback. And so there's some incongruencies in the logic for me here with the way that this list breaks down. Again, Kyler Murray being 20th is another one that I have a problem with. I know Kyler has his limitations, but to tell me that Kyler Murray is behind Russell Wilson and Matt Stafford, Justin Fields, I'm sorry, I would take Kyler Murray over Justin Fields right now. Right now, I would. I'm just... Again, there's a lot of this after like 11 that just gets a little weird for me. Again, what happened after like 26 with all the rookies and the unproven second year guys, I have no problem with. You can put those guys in any order, and I'm not really going to complain. About what happened here in the middle from 11 to about 20 is a little bit wild to me. Heldy, can I ask a legitimate question here? How long are you going to continue the Sean Clifford bit? I will say you have a very good point. And I'm going to say this for the podcast audience as well, because Heldy brings up a point that I know I truly believe in. The Fields hype has gotten out of hand, and so has the Kyler slander. I would agree 100%. We have gone to the extremes. Of praising Justin Fields and criticizing Kyler Murray. There is a middle ground here that we should be living in. Kyler has his critics. I've been one of them at times. At the end of the day, I think we've taken it too far to say Kyler Murray is only the 20th best quarterback in the National Football League here in the offseason going into the 2023 season. Sims World says Geno Smith had a top 10 quarterback season easily. I would agree. He's 14th on this list. Again, had a better season than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson in the top 10. So that's tough for me. Those are the things that really bother me about this list. Now, where was Daniel Jones on this list? He ended up being 15th on this list. Ahead of Justin Fields, Tua, Matt Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Kyler Murray inside the top 20. That's where he ended up on this list. And so, again, the bigger problem I have with this list is what happened through 11 through 20 and the way that ultimately sorted out. Because I think there are just some misses in here and there's some incongruencies with the logic. Now, that's the list. That's the brainchild behind today's topic. We spent 12 minutes breaking down the list. That's not really what we're here to do. We're here for the Chris Schubert official, unofficial pre-2023 NFL quarterback rankings. So can I get permission from the chat to embark on a journey here? I'm going to give you my top 10 quarterbacks as it sits right now in the official, unofficial pre-2023 NFL quarterback rankings. Permission to proceed with my top 10 list so that we can banter about how terrible my list is, because you guys are probably going to hate it. Permission has been granted by the chat. We will start with, I think, the easiest decision to make here on this list. Patrick Mahomes sits at number 1 on this list. I will tell you, I did not have a lot of qualms about putting this gentleman number 2. Joe Burrow, number 2. On my list. So we've got Patrick Mahomes 1. We've got Joe Burrow number 2. Number 3, I also didn't have much consternation about putting this gentleman in the 3rd spot. I had 3 guys that I put in a tier all amongst their own, and I very quickly came up with the order that I wanted to put them in. Josh Allen, number 3 on this list. So Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, Allen 3. I think that is the easiest part of this list to put together. And again, if you in the chat want to say I put Allen 2 or I would put Burrow, you could move those guys around. Totally fair. I would have zero problem with that. Okay? I'm not going to argue the semantics of where you put. But I think those 3 guys need to be in a tier amongst their own. Now, Scott Without Clout, you're getting a little bit ahead of the game here. You're talking ahead here. Some of those names you mentioned aren't going to be on the list just yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, a tier easily put together amongst themselves. And then I think 4 through 7 was tough for me. 4 through 7 was tough, and you could convince me to reorganize this. And so, again, that's why the official, unofficial, we can be convinced. At number 4, I put Lamar Jackson at number 4. And I know that's probably going to be a hot take. And I know that's probably going to bother some people. But I think Lamar Jackson, you need to win a game, specifically in the regular season. This dude is unbelievable. He knows how to win football games. He is a game changer in what he's able to do running the football. And so for me, I got to win one football game during the 2023 season. Lamar Jackson, for me, comes in 4th on this list. Now, I will tell you, if you want to flip the guy that I put 5th with the guy I put 4th, we can pass a motion to do so. But the chat's going to have to do it. It's going to have to be a majority rule here, okay? I have Jalen Hurts 5th on the list. If we want to pass a motion right now to flip those two gentlemen in the official, unofficial 2023 quarterback list, we can flip these two quarterbacks if we want. And I know Sam says the quarterback who's missed 5 games in each of the past 2 seasons, we've got an improved offense. I think we've got a new scheme that's going to help him. Again, if I need to win a football game in the regular season in 2023, Lamar Jackson's going to be one of the first few names I call. Now, again, I'm willing to pass a motion right here to flip Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. And we could put Lamar 5th on this list. But you guys have to approve the motion. I can't unilaterally do it. Once the list is locked in, it has to be a majority rule to be able to change the list. So we've got Mahomes, we've got Burrow, we've got Allen. We have Jackson 4, and we have Hurts 5. That's where we sit right now. And so I'm going to lock these in until a motion gets passed here. Number 6 on the list. I put Aaron Rodgers here 6th. And I know he's about to be 40 years old. And I know he's coming off probably the worst statistical season of his career, right? But I think in an offense that he's familiar with, probably one of the better offensive teams he's been around in recent memory, I think the expectation is Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to be productive and put up a ton of numbers. And again, for this season, if I got to win a game, Aaron Rodgers is one of the first 6 names that I would call in order to win a football game. So I have Aaron Rodgers 6. Number 7 on the list. Jamie brings out a very important stat, and he's the one that told me this stat that really kind of swayed me to put Lamar where I did. Lamar has won 74% of his regular season starts. Now again, he's got to be healthy, and it's a fair criticism, but I'm turning injuries off for this list. Just based on pure talent, how I would rank these guys, I would take Lamar. Number 7 for me. Number 7. This is where I put Justin Herbert. And I know there are probably some people that would want to see Justin Herbert inside the top 5, that would want to see Justin Herbert potentially pushing one of those top 3 spots. I'm just not there yet with Justin Herbert. I think he has grown, he has developed, he's going to be worthy of the big contract extension that he is going to get from the Los Angeles Chargers. But I want a little bit of a larger sample size here. And it's kind of why Jalen Hurts didn't crack the top 4 and I put him 5th. Herbert's resume in terms of what he's been able to do is what's kind of kept him on the outside looking in, right? The playoffs, what happened there this past year, last year, the way the season kind of ended, that game he tried to single-handedly try to pull them to the playoffs with that game against the Raiders. Again, I've been a Herbert defender, but looking at this list, do I think he's a top 8 quarterback in the league? Yes. Do I think he's somebody that I would pick to win a football game if I have to? Yes. But you want to crack that top tier, that Mahomes, Burrow, Allen tier, man, you gotta do it consistently, and you got to be a guy that can take over. So I'm going to put Herbert 7th on this list. Now 8, 9, and 10, I think is buyer beware. I think 8, 9, and 10 is beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think it is whatever you want to make of it. Track record, I think this guy has proven statistically he can get it done and put up elite numbers, not in great offenses. This is where I have Derek Carr. I've said it before, I've said it again. I think Derek's a top 8 quarterback. I don't think at this point his resume broaches what these other guys in front of him have done, but I think his resume and what he's able to produce in terms of a talent on the field, the way he's able to change plays at the line, the way he's able to read defenses, I think it's better than the 2 guys I have behind him. So again, he does not crack that list of, and I think there'd be a tier break here, but I have Derek top 8. And then 9 and 10, I went with some guys with some higher upside. Trevor Lawrence, great season last year, really emerged, but it was really the first time that he emerged there in Jacksonville. If he can continue to do that, if he continue to put that together, he will slowly rise up this list. But for me, I have Trevor Lawrence 9. And then number 10, I mentioned it a little bit earlier that we all thought this guy should be a little bit higher. I put Tua here at number 10. So, just again, Patrick Mahomes 1, Joe Burrow 2, Josh Allen 3, Lamar Jackson 4, Jalen Hurts 5, Aaron Rodgers 6, Justin Herbert 7, Derek Carr 8, Trevor Lawrence 9, Tua Tagovailoa 10. that is where I have it, and I feel pretty good about most of it. The Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson thing I did go back and forth on. I worry that maybe I have Trevor Lawrence a little bit too low at 9, but again, we're really kind of basing this off of one season. It was a great season. They made the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence developed and showed that guy that was taken number 1 overall and broke through with Doug Peterson. So I didn't have a problem with that. Him being on the list. I kind of worried about him being a little bit higher, but I ultimately settled with 9. And I put 2 at 10. Right on the outside looking in, I would say this is where you could kind of consider that group. And let me pull up the list that I got from the other day just to make sure I mention all of the names. I think right outside this list is where you would consider Dak, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, Stafford, Daniel Jones, Jared Goff. I think this is where this group kind of falls in for me. And you could put those guys in any real order. If you had Dak at 11, I really wouldn't have that much of a problem with it. Kirk, you want to have him at 11, I wouldn't have that much of a problem with it. I think Kyler probably is this is the conversation where I would entertain putting Kyler that 11 to 14 range. But that's where I have it. And again, I'm not if we want to pass a motion to change any of this on the official, unofficial pre-2023 NFL QB power rankings, we can. But I feel pretty good about where I settled on this. I thought Tua had a really great season last year. I thought he showed flashes his first couple of years, kind of put it together the first year with McDaniel, and I wanted that to be on this list. But again, I didn't want to overrate it too much and put him in a group where he hasn't had that long-standing, resume. Logan says that's some Dak disrespect. He's not in the Cousins tier. I think Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins are very similar quarterbacks in what they offer you on a week-to-week basis. I really don't think there's that much of a difference in their ability and how many games they're going to be able to win you and what kind of difference they can have on a game. I really don't see that much of a difference. If you want to take Dak over Kirk, that's fine. But I think they're very similar. You know the meme from The Office where Pam's looking at the picture and she says they're the same picture? That's how I feel about Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins as quarterbacks. They're the same QB. They're just the same to me. Again, you can like one over the other, but I think the Tua respect confuses me. He's fine. Yeah, I mean, he is fine, but somebody's got to be in the 10th spot, right? And I think all of these quarterbacks are just fine in this tier, right? I think Kirk, I think Jared Goff, I think Geno Smith, I think Daniel Jones. Russ hasn't really had, not just the Denver season, but the last couple of years in Seattle weren't that great. So I kind of pushed him down the list. So, again, they're kind of all the same. If I needed to win a game, I took the guy with, I think, a little bit of higher upside that I think can do more for me in terms of mobility, running around, scrambling, making plays than some of those other guys. If you wanted to take Tua out and put Kirk in or Dak in, I wouldn't criticize that, right? I think I landed on Tua because I think of the upside if I needed to win a game. So I think you can kind of put this in any order. And like I said 8 through 10 was beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think you can look at it and multiple people can give you different answers. Sam says 10 is split between the three-headed beast of Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, and Dak Prescott. Yeah, and again, I know there are some people that would criticize my pick of Derek in the top 8, and I get that. I understand why you would be critical of it. I'm just a Derek stan. I think he's played better than people give him credit for, and so for me, if I needed to win a game, he's one of the top 8 options that I would take. Scout Without Clout says, truth is outside of a top few, most ranked pretty evenly and will only be as good as their team. Hurts has had a lot of help, for example. I would agree with that, Scout Without Clout. I would agree. I think after those top 3, Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen, who have shown it track record-wise for a longer period of time, you're betting on the team, and you could put these in any order. If you wanted to put Rodgers 4 because of the longevity and that he's been able to do it for a long period of time, I mean, I would disagree. The age, is a concern for me for this upcoming season. So I moved him down a couple of spots, but just based on pure arm talent and based on just pure talent at the quarterback position, I don't know how you cannot have him in the top 8, the top 6, right? And so those are the kinds of conversations that I had in my head while doing this. I will say the easiest 3 names to write down were Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen in that order, and then I was able to kind of go from there. Sam asks, which rookie QB has the best chance to be in the top 10 in 2 years? That's a great question, Sam. Let's look at this here. So the rookie quarterback that has the best chance to be in the top 10 in 2 years. I think we need to look at this from the context of which team's going to have the best situation for their quarterback. And I think if I was power ranking them, I think Bryce in Carolina and Anthony Richardson in Indy, I think are going to be able to have the most immediate success with where their teams are at, right? I think Houston is still a little bit away. I think their roster is in worse shape than where Carolina and Indy is. So if I had to say which rookie QB has the best chance to be in the top 10 in 2 years, I would probably say Anthony Richardson or Bryce Young. Those would be the two. And if you had to lean one, we all talk about the upside with Anthony Richardson and him being a long-term projection, and if he's able to reach that ceiling, and if he can learn a little bit more because he's raw right now. You want to say a guy that in 2 years with that team can crack the top 10. I would say the tools and traits of Anthony Richardson would be number one for me. If I had to break the tie and you made me pick one, I would take Anthony Richardson. But I think Bryce is close. And again, I think the situation would dictate a lot here, and I think those two are in the best position here in the short term. Raul loving that I mentioned Anthony Richardson. I did not do it for the cheap pop, Raul. I didn't. But I do appreciate the reaction because those are the two names that I would mention. Scout Without Clot says I have Herbert 4 and Rodgers 5, but that's because of arm talent, age 2. Yeah, again, I think after 3, 4 through 10, you can really put these in any order. Like I don't love Dak, but if you had him like 9 or 10, I'm not going to throw a fit about it. I don't love it. It doesn't really excite me. I think I could come up with better options. But the thing that bothered me about the list that was the kind of the brainchild for this show today was Deshaun being in the top 10. I'm sorry, I can't get there. Until he shows that he was the player that he was in Houston, he's going to be outside the top 10 for me for the foreseeable future. Healthy says, I think projection should easily keep Hurts in the top 5. I put him fifth. And I thought the maturity that he took from a passing perspective, right? We know the difference maker he can be on the ground. We know the difference maker that he is on those 3rd and 4th and short situations. And again, that's just one aspect of a game, but it's an important one. They are just dominant in that facet of being able to keep drives alive because of what he's able to do in that regard. But the development that he made as a passer, you love the team that they're building around him. And so for me, I wanted to reward the leap that he made. But I think he needs to show it again for another season before he can kind of threaten one of those top 3 spots. So I think top 5 right now is extremely fair for Jalen Hurts. So again, the list: Patrick Mahomes 1, Joe Burrow 2, Josh Allen 3, Lamar Jackson 4, Jalen Hurts 5, Aaron Rodgers 6, Justin Herbert 7, Derek Carr 8, Trevor Lawrence 9, and Tua Tagovailoa 10th for me on this list. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate Jamie getting me riled up on a Friday for a show on a Monday, and hopefully I brought the spice that was promised. Hopefully I brought the energy that was promised, because this list really got me going on Friday, and I have been stewing about it over the weekend, trying to put together my list here for the show today. So appreciate everybody being here, rating, reviewing, subscribing to the podcast. Greatly appreciated. Help build this show. We've got some incredible momentum building here for the summertime leading into the 2024 draft process, and we've got a lot of fun summer content for you here on the pod from a scouting perspective. I'm delving into watching some tape. I know I mentioned it on Friday, but I'll have my way too early 2024 QB rankings for the draft prospects that I'm looking forward to diving into probably the beginning of next week as well. And of course, we've got all the fun content the rest of the week here on the show. So please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on the YouTube version of the show, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We hang out over there. And then you get to be a part of the post-show shenanigans, which once I get done here and I say goodbye, that is exactly what we are going to do. And to tease, Sam has asked me a question of who are my top 5 backup quarterbacks in the National Football League. So you want to talk about what we're doing in the post-show for the post-show shenanigans. That is exactly what we are doing. So appreciate everybody making this show a part of their day. Hope everybody has a great rest of their Monday. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Top 5 backup QBs in the National Football League. Top 5. So another top 5 list. Let me write this down. Top 5 backup QBs. Sam, not Sam Teets, the other Sam. Do they need to be current? They're currently the backup for a team. Is that the parameter for this? They need to currently be a backup for a team. Is that what we're looking for? Let's do some research. Yes. Okay. So we are looking for QBs. Oh, that guy's got to be on the list. Okay, I've got. Well, all right. Hold on. I'm gonna put Huntley on the list. I'm not gonna put him 1, but I am gonna put Huntley on the list. I'm gonna put Huntley. Wow, there's a lot of good options here. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler, healthy. That good shout. He's a Pro Bowler. All right. Clerical question: How are we doing the San Francisco QB room? Because I gotta if Purdy's the starter, Trey Lance probably gonna be on this list. How do we want to do that? Sean Clifford, backup for the currently listed as the backup for the Green Bay Packers, Heldy. This is your moment. Convince me. I'm going to put Tyler Huntley 2 on my list. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be biased. Mike White's number 1. You want to talk about a high upside backup quarterback. So Mike White 1, Tyler Huntley 2. We've got we do Mitchell Trubisky. No, don't want that. Don't need to do that. What do we think with Tyrod Taylor? What do we want to do with him? That's an interesting name to invoke here. Sam, love Mike effing White. Dalton's listed as the backup, Tuttle, according to our lads. I have it sorted by position. So if we're doing that, Andy Dalton's going to go 3. He's going to go 3. What do we do with Cooper Rush? Dude came in and won 4 games as a starter, as the backup. Cooper Rush has got to be in consideration. We got Cooper Rush. We've got Cooper Rush. We got Marcus Mariota that I saw the chat just throw out there. Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor. That's what we've got here. I'm gonna get Tyrod Taylor in there, and I'm gonna put Jacoby Brissett 5. So my list: Mike White, Tyler Huntley, Andy Dalton, Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett. Those are my 5. Minshew's listed as the starter in Indy, Raul. According to our lads. So Richardson's listed as the backup, and I'm not going to put a rookie on my list here. It's not the spirit of the list. But Mike White, Tyler Huntley, Andy Dalton, Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett. I like that list. 2 lists here on the show today. Can't believe it. I will tell you guys, I wasn't feeling good at the start of the show. Doing the show, hanging out with you guys, we've turned a corner a little bit, which is fantastic to hear. Fantastic to hear. Who will be joining us for who's a member of TDN Premium joining us for a fun overreaction Monday? I have no idea what Jamie is going to have us discuss. He might actually make me just do my list for Premium and have my list get destroyed for 45 minutes. That might actually be the topic of today's TDN Premium Overreaction Monday. So if you want more banter about this, that's probably what we're going to do over there, unless Jamie's got a trick up his sleeve that I don't know about. But that feels like what we're going to do over there. So shout out to the TDN Premium Discord, where you can be a part of that and have a good time. And you get Overreaction Monday. You get to hang out with the TDN staff and listen to us banter about whatever we are going to be bantering about. Okay. I will make this the last call for anything on the show here today. I want to get out of here a little bit ahead of time so that I can edit the show and get it up ahead of Overreaction Monday. Sam Teets, guess what? You're a member of the TDN Premium Discord. You can tag Ryan at any time and ask that question. You know he'll answer you. So you just tag him and be like, dude, put it in Prospect Talk and just add him in Prospect Talk. It was literally a channel designed for this. We have the 2024 Prospect Talk channel literally designed for conversations like this. We literally set it up for you. So, all right, last call. Anything that anybody wants me to talk about? I will not be taking questions at this time on Quinnen Williams' contract dispute with the New York Jets. I will not be taking questions at this time as I panic over them not getting a deal done with Q. So we will not be discussing that at this time. So if anyone has anything else that they would like to discuss, sure, throw it in the chat. But if not, we are going to get out of here and move on for another day. But appreciate all of you being here. Appreciate everybody making this show a part of their day. Hope everybody has a great rest of their... Yes, Jamie? Yes? All caps. So I'll pause the outro. I'm pausing the outro. Favorite ballpark food? Favorite ballpark food? Well, hot dog number one, right? I mean, I don't think you can go to a ballpark and enjoy a baseball game without eating a hot dog. And you just need to have ketchup on the hot dog. You don't need to do the ketchup and the mustard and then the relish, and you don't need to complicate things. You just take the hot dog out of the wrapper, you open it up, you put some ketchup on it, and you eat it that way. You're good, no problem. So hot dog number one. I think a good chicken tenders and fries is a great secondary option. I think you gotta have ice cream, right? The soft serve that they serve in the little helmet. Hopefully you can get some sprinkles on there. That would be on the list as well. Short list of things that you'd like to have. Trying to think if there anything else that like you really, really have to have at a ballpark. I mean, you could do nachos. I have a hot take. I think nachos are a terrible ballpark food. They're too messy. You've got a limited room to operate the nachos, and if you've got too much stuff on the nachos, the proportions and being able to balance and it's just a disaster. Chicken tenders tend to be so dry at Chase Field Saturday. I will agree with this take. I had chicken tenders, I think 2 of the 3 days that we were there over the weekend, and I agree with this take. But hot dog, chicken tenders, ice cream, that's really bad. Good soft pretzel. A good salted soft pretzel also would make the list for me as a ballpark food that I would like to have. So those would be the 4 for me. And that is how we're going to end today's show. We're going to end today's show with my favorite ballpark food. So hot dog with ketchup, chicken tenders and fries, ice cream soft serve in the helmet, and a salted soft pretzel. That's going to do it for us here on the Monday edition of TDN Daily. Appreciate everybody being here. Hope everybody has a great rest of their Monday. Talk to y'all tomorrow.